Hi everyone, this is Borna Kazerani from Melbourne, Australia. I hope you're doing fine. First of all, thank you so very much for all your lovely comments and feedback, and please forgive me if I'm not able to reply you all. I'll try my best. Anyways, today I'm going to have a conversation with Jordan Sprigg, who is an Australian artist. He was born in Australia in 1992. Jordan, based in country Western Australia. Sprigg uses recycled metals found from retired machinery, scrap heaps, and clearance sales. Some of the pieces found dating over 100 years old and used by the earliest settlers of Western Australia. The objects he produces range from dragonflies, owls, and seahorses to large-scale sharks, eagles, and even horses. Scrap iron sculptures are purposely left in their rusted state to highlight the age of the metal and the history of each piece. From springs, gears, bearings, and nuts to bolts, shovels, pliers, and saws. The list is endless as to what the artist makes use of in his work. Understanding and appreciation of these time-worn parts of a past life allows space for the creation of a new life in their current composition. If you're interested to find out more about Jordan, you can go to his website and also on Instagram and gonna find out actually who I'm gonna have a conversation with. And now let me ask Jordan to join me for a conversation. Hello.
How you doing?
I'm doing really well. How are you doing, Jordan?
Very well. Yeah, good.
I'm so glad to having you here today on the live show. And do you want to say hi to those who are watching us right now?
G'day, everyone.
Hello. So I don't know much about you and about your past, but what I'm really interested to know is about what happens when you decided to use recycle metals in order of creating amazing like sculptures. How long have you been doing this for?
So 7 years today. Oh, no, about 7 years. So in late 2013, I kind of thought I'd give uni a break. And at the 2013 summer, I made my first kangaroo sculptures. And it's kind of just built from there, really. So yeah, I was planning to do it for about a year before I actually became a psychologist. So I was going to further my studies in psychology, and it kind of just blew up on me.
Very different.
Yeah, no, they're completely different.
Absolutely. And you've been doing it for 7 years, am I right?
Yes.
Wow, you started very early. Well done. So, what do you what you do as an artist is extremely spectacular and very creative. And I want to know what's the connection between you and what you're doing, and why did you want to become a sculptor? What happened?
Yeah, I don't think I ever wanted to become a sculptor. I kind of just fell into it. I never thought you could kind of make money or have a job as an artist, full stop. And I think it was just through social media that it kind of just ballooned on me. And yeah, it was kind of just people started asking for commissions quite regularly. And yeah, it just got to the point where I couldn't say no anymore. And even now when people call me an artist, I still don't really feel like, I don't really feel like an artist.
You're amazing.
I know I am, but it doesn't feel like I am.
Amazing.
So yeah, I was never, as a kid, I never thought I'd be an artist, and yeah, it's not something that I ever planned on doing. I kind of just fell into it, and because of, I guess, the way social media is, things can go big on you very quickly.
What do you mean by yeah? Like, are you talking like on different platforms, like such as Instagram and other platforms?
Yeah, I think just social media with Facebook and Instagram. With those two, it kind of just makes marketing a lot easier. I guess back in the old days, you'd only just have your gallery represent you. But now it's kind of, you can represent yourself with your social media accounts. Which, yeah, if you can do it and make it viable that way, I think that's the way to go.
Okay, so that's very interesting because you're an amazing sculptor, and you probably don't call yourself as an artist, but you've got thousands followers, and I've been through it, every single piece you made, and well done. Where do you usually get the concept from? Because I was reading your biography, and it's mentioned that you're interested in animals, and the majority of your works actually are about animals, all right?
Yeah. So all of my pieces are animals. I get a lot of requests for people, but they don't really inspire me or excite me to build a person. I'm not sure what it is about animals. I think I've always loved drawing, and especially as a kid, the things that I would draw are animals.
Right.
So I think it was an easy choice for me what I decided to build. And yeah, when I first started, if you saw my pieces when I first started, they were very amateurish, and like, I don't think you could sell them, but I think that's how I learnt the trade of welding and grinding and cutting, and just through a lot of trial and error, until I got to the point where it actually resembled an animal and I was happy with the way it looked. So yeah, I think that's the thing with animals. There's just so many I can do out there, and so many cool animals that I haven't built. I don't think I'll be short of like material or inspiration for future projects.
Okay. And do you usually have like a palette, or do you usually have when you start? Well, I'll get there. So I'll get there. Well, I was thinking about where you're living right now, because I believe, and probably I'm sure, the city is not a good place for what you're doing unless you've a massive workplace. And I would like you to explain to me about the making of a large sculpture. What's the first step, and what will happen to that sculpture after it's finished? I want you to tell me about the process.
So I think you've got to decide what you're going to build, the animal specifically, and I think you probably spend about 2 or 3 days just studying the animal. So pictures on the internet. If you get a real life one, that makes it easier as well. And then you look for models on the animal that you're wanting to build, say a bull or a horse or a deer or a crocodile. And once you've got the model, then you can kind of work out the dimensions that you have to balloon it up, because you've got a toy about this big, and then you've got to balloon it up to a full-size horse or a full-size deer or whatever you're building. So that takes a while, just getting everything into perspective.
Right.
And I think it's probably one of the most important parts is the start, when you've got to get the sizing and the scale right of the animal. Because if you get that wrong from the start, it doesn't matter how good your sculpture will be or how much detail you add, it won't look right. So you've kind of got to get the proportions early from the start. And then you can add lots and lots of detail afterwards. But if you haven't got the proportions right, it doesn't really matter what you do afterwards.
Okay, sorry, go on.
Yeah, no, so I was going to say, once you've got the proportions, you usually start out with a silhouette of the animal, and you can either draw it on the floor with chalk, or you can cut it out with another bit of sheet metal, and then you get the actual shape of the animal which gives you a 2D silhouette. And then from there, you can build out the actual, it's almost like the skeleton of the animal. So the legs and the back and the neck, spine, and from there, it'll actually resemble a horse or a bull or a crocodile, but it's in a 2D form. And then from there, you can build out the shoulders and the legs coming down. You can add hips and you can add the belly and shoulder. So there is a bit of a process, and it kind of just helps you along the way to not make those big mistakes that just make you lose the form of the animal if you don't have that structure inside.
Mm-hmm. Fair enough. So, how do you usually marketing for your sculptures or sculptures finish? Like, do you usually get an order beforehand, or because I'm sure when you started, actually, it was not easy. It came by law first, and you wanted to build or make it, but afterwards, how did you start like marketing yourself, like, or marketing your stuff that you were working on, or you were making it?
Yeah. I think, when I first started, it was probably a little different. It was predominantly just Facebook, and I'd market through Facebook, and I'd spend a little bit of money on photography and just getting it out to the right audience through Facebook advertising. And as I've gone along, it's kind of just, I'm still doing the same things. I'm just doing more of it. So I'm doing more photography, spending more money on advertising and making sure the website's updated. And then I got into Instagram as well. And then it kind of just developed like that. You learn a lot by making lots of mistakes. I found along the way, like, that's the thing, I've made a lot of mistakes along the way, and I'm hoping that I've actually learned a bit as I've gone in the journey about just how you market as an artist. And I think, yeah, as an artist, I don't think many artists actually want to do the marketing side of things, but I think it's just as important as the actual artwork itself. So,
like me, yeah, I don't know how to market my stuff. I don't know how to sell my movie. I don't know how to sell my script. It's one of the things that I've never been talented for, and I thought it's just only me. But when I was working with lots of artists for the past few weeks, I've noticed now I'm not the only one. Actually, it's very difficult. But and I don't know any other Australian or any other artists in Australia do the same things as yours. And I want to know that how is the industry, or how you've been successful in the field that you've been doing it actually over the past few years. And do you have, or have you got like international customers as well? Or no, it's all in Australia?
in answer to your first question, I do have a few international customers, but because of the price it costs to get a sculpture over there, because they're so big and heavy, the freight alone is huge. Most of my clients are Australian. In saying that though, there's definitely a huge interest overseas. I think most of my Instagram followers are American, which kind of shows you there's a lot of interest in the US.
Right.
And I guess for the niche of recycled metal, it is actually a very popular niche to do. But like any art, it's one of those things, you've got to be able to sell your work and market it in a way that you can kind of make it financially viable. So I think that's the thing. Like, I love using recycled metal, but it isn't necessarily easy to market and get into like big galleries or big exhibitions. So I think what I've tried to do is, I'm always trying to focus on my artwork, but also try and work on my marketing and advertising. Because I think that's the difference between most artists, is it's not their ability as an artist, it's their ability to market themselves as an artist. And yeah, I'm not saying I'm an expert at it, but I think that's probably where a lot of artists let themselves down, is just their marketing online. And even in person to person, a lot of artists don't like doing public speaking. They don't like talking in front of crowds. And I think that's the difference between some, like the successful artists and the ones that aren't, is just they put themselves out there. They're willing to fail. They're willing to get rejected. But those artists seem to eventually sell their work, or they get accepted into things. And I think it doesn't matter how successful you are as an artist, you have to get used to rejection and having your work not accepted. That's just part of the game. I mean, it's part of life, but especially as an artist, you have to get used to people saying, no, I don't like your work, or it doesn't fit here, or I like your work, but it's just not our style. So I think, that's just part of the process. And if you can get good at that, it just means you seem to get into more things when you don't let it get to you.
Yes, absolutely. I've got more than 98 questions so far, and I'm so afraid to open them because I've got my questions as well. So if we get a chance, lovely people will go through your questions. Now I want to ask you a favor. I want you to give us a tour, and you're gonna direct us, you're gonna take us, if there is a project that you finished recently, or if there's anything that you've been working on, please take us and show what you're doing. And there's option, you can reverse the camera and we'll follow you.
Alrighty. So I'm hoping it should stay in signal, but
that's okay.
So this is the, I'm just at the house at the moment because it seems to have the best signal. So I'll just show you this is a crocodile sculpture I did. 2018.
Stay. I want to have like a whole image. No. The other one. No. It was okay. But if you step back a little bit, I want to have the whole. Yes.
Yep.
That's perfect. Oh my God, it's amazing. Now you can move.
Show you close up.
Yes.
Yep.
Wow, look at the details.
So this is the head. The head, I think, is probably the most important part of any piece. This is kind of where I try and get the most detail. And you've probably noticed with this, I've got a lot of the tools and stuff like that in the head. You got spanners and crescents, and that's the eye, which is the ball bearing there. So that's very important. You've got to have, I mean, other artists do it differently. I just like the stainless steel just because if you look back, it always is in contrast to the rest of the animal, because the rest of the animal is scrap metal. And we just go down. You do the claws. So this crocodile's bolted to the underneath the boat here. So you just lift the crocodile and the boat will come with it.
Okay.
There's some bite marks in him. Got a knife. Got some more shears and pliers. Lots and lots of spanners. That's an old like a bike cog. This one here. It's the feet. Then you just bring it up around the tail.
How big is it? How meters?
So it's a 5 meter crocodile, and the boat is 3.6 meters. So I don't know how I'll be able to do this, but fit my head in. Kind of gives you a bit of an idea of the size.
Can you do it again? Can you do it again? I want to see it. I want to see it. I want to see it. Can you do it again?
So that's about how big he is.
Oh my God. He's huge. Wow.
So yeah, no, they're pretty big. Like I try and make, especially the big, like the crocodiles and the bulls and the horses, they are just big animals. So, yeah, and the beauty about this, like the scrap metal, there's just so much of it that I'll never have a shortage of finding materials to use. It's just endless.
How long did it take to complete this project or complete this sculpture?
This one was about 400 hours, which the big ones take about that long. Yeah, so I mean, probably 3 months if I was full time in the shed.
Wow. And you're one of those artists that can work on the different projects or multiple projects at the same time, or do you prefer to focus and get this one down and then move on to something else?
Nah, I try and do just work on one at a time. I find I just get too distracted if I'm doing more than one. So yeah, I don't know. I'm sure other artists can do it, but I'm not one of them. I have to do one at a time, and yeah, just keep going until it's finished. Really.
Okay, so if there's not any other sculpture that you can show us, you were showing me yesterday the recycled metals. I really want people and myself see it again, that we usually gather them, get them together, and there are like thousand and thousand of them that you were showing me yesterday.
Yep, yep. I'm just walking there now.
Okay.
So that's the forklift. That's what's moving the That's what I use to move the sculpture, because he's about half a ton, so he's pretty heavy.
Of course.
This is the shed I'm walking to now. Yeah, beautiful day here in Narrabeen. Not a breath of wind. You probably noticed there's a lot of flies around though. They love it out here.
It's a best place for your work.
Yeah, it is. It's plenty of peace and quiet anyway, unless Molly's around. So this is the scrap heap here. This is where all the scrap is organised into different categories, really. So they've got like the tools, kind of anything that adds to the detail, especially in the head. And then you've got stuff like this, seats, and like these are great cheekbones. Anything circular, gears, cogs, pulleys. Same again, circular. Chain.
You divided.
What was that?
You divided all of them. You've separated all of them.
I've tried to. There's still other scrap here that's in, the unorganized category, which is a bit of shambles.
Well, Jordan, where do you usually find these metals from? Where do you get them from? How do you find them?
So I'm coming from a farming district, and on every farm there's scrap metal. So, every farm will have something like this on their property, except it's just in one big heap. So this is just a collection of what I've got over the years, and then I've put it into categories to make it a little easier. And then you can, if you want to move them, you just chuck the forklift underneath and you can grab them from there. But yeah, it's just trying to give a little bit more order in the chaos that is scrap metal, because it's literally, it just usually gets dumped in heaps, and then what I do is I just fossick through and see what I can find.
Wow. Is there any other sculpture you can show us, or is that the crocodile one? Crocodile one was the only one.
Yeah, he's the only one. I got rid of the other. I had 3 smaller sculptures that I had here, and I didn't fortunately. I sold them last week, so I don't have anything else I can show you today.
Well done. Well done.
But yeah, this one is one of my big ones, and I don't usually have the big ones at home. They're usually in public spaces, so yeah, it worked in well that you've got at least this one here.
The crocodile one.
The crocodile.
Oh, so I don't want to make you tired. Whenever you're ready, you can go back, or you can sit wherever you prefer. That I'll continue. There are lots of questions coming through, and I have my questions also. So wherever you sit, you can sit and we can continue our conversation.
Cool. Yep, just on my way back now.
Wow. Amazing. Well done. Well done.
Alrighty.
How's the weather over there? Is it quite warm or is it moderate?
It's beautiful. I think it's like 27 degrees.
Wow.
No wind. Yeah. No, certainly no complaints about the weather.
But Jordan, as it's being said, you use recycled metals from fired machines in your voice.
Yep.
What do you do to prevent them from being destroyed based on climate change?
I guess the thing is, with what I use, it's already rusted and deteriorated. So the metal I'm using is already old, and you can't really destroy something that's already been destroyed. So what I've got is metal that's been rusting away on a scrap heap for 40 or 50 years. So the likelihood that it's going to rust or deteriorate any further is unlikely. And with what I do, I generally add a oil lacquer on top of it, and it just kind of preserves the rusted state, but it stops the rust, so it won't rust any further anyway. And if you notice with the crocodile, I think just in the background there, it has this lacquer varnish look, so it looks kind of glossy. And it just preserves all the rust, metal, and that color, like it just holds it in. And I think it looks almost new, but it's rusty. And you just apply that every now and again, maybe once a year, and it'll stay looking new.
Right. So, okay, that's very understandable. Yeah, very, very, okay, understandable. Every artist likes to give a message to the audience. What the message do you like to give your audience through your work? What do you want people to understand when they look at your work, or what do you want to show them? What's the message you want to deliver or convey?
I think that's the thing with my art. I've never tried to be portraying a message or another meaning apart from what I'm trying to build, which is generally the animal. So what I try and do is capture the form and the character and the personality of the animal I'm creating. So the crocodile here, I try and get that as close as I possibly can, but doing it in a way that I'm using recycled metal and kind of preserving the history that's been used. So in particular, like that one would have metal that might be 80 or 90 years old. And if it wasn't put into the sculpture, it would have just deteriorated into nothing and never seen or used again. So I think what I'll try and do is, one, capture the actual character and personality of the animal, but when people come closer to the animal, they're able to inspect and pick out tools that they might have used growing up, or they might notice there's scissors or a screwdriver or kind of everyday objects that we used in the past and then we just kind of throw away.
Right.
So it's kind of, for me, it's bringing out my passion for animals as well as my passion for metalwork. And since I kind of was introduced to scrap metal just because that was the only thing I was allowed to use when I was first starting out to practice my metalwork. That's all Dad would give me is the scrap metal. But since I've used it, I've noticed like there's just a complete other story behind each piece of tool you use. Like with some of the metal, it can be over 100 years old and it was used to clear the land, say in the wheat belt, or you can get scrap metal from New South Wales, or I've got scrap metal from about 8 or 9 different countries around the world and then preserved into this one sculpture. And then that sculpture can end up in wherever. Like it's just amazing the story that can go behind where the metal ends up.
Very meaningful. It's very meaningful. That's very, very interesting. Now, I want to go through some of the questions. So, is Springy an Eagles supporter?
Eagles. I get it. No, I'm a Hawthorn supporter. So, yeah, I actually just had a piece go to a West Coast Eagles player. But no, I'm a Hawthorn supporter since 2008. So, yeah, sorry to disappoint.
Okay, this is another question. The very, very first questions came through. So what is the best place and step you would recommend it starting to get into this type of art? That's a very good question, actually.
Does he mean like metalwork in general or as in recycled metal?
Let me see if... Okay, well, I've lost the question because there are thousand, like there are lots of questions. So I don't know which one is which.
I'd say the best way to get into, I guess, the art world is really focus on, I mean, I said this earlier, focus on your marketing just as much as you do focus on your artwork. I think the fun bit is the art. I understand that. But if you actually want to stay an artist and do it for years and years and years, you have to be good at marketing and marketing yourself. So instead of focusing so much on your artwork per se, I'd focus on
recycled. You. So he or she said recycled.
Recycled metal. Okay. So same concept. It doesn't matter if you're using recycled metal, brand new stainless steel or copper or painting or bronze or clay. It's all the same kind of thing. There's no perfect art medium to use, and this is just there's no perfect medium, and there's always different niches for different art mediums. So there's a niche for recycled metal, there's a niche for stainless steel, there's a niche for core 10 steel, there's a niche for painting, there's a niche for abstract art. Like there's a niche for every single art medium. You've kind of just got to find that, and the only way you can do that is by kind of promoting yourself in a way that kind of gets eyeballs on your work and in a favorable way. So whenever you're doing it, once you've finished a piece, get good photos. I think that's humongous, getting good photos, getting a good website, and then really focusing, if you want to go through social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, whatever your medium is, YouTube, and really focusing on that, and watch what other people that are doing well in the industry, watch what they do, because there's not a secret. They're doing well for a reason, so watch what they're doing, and I guess in terms of the actual construction of the art, I'd say don't be afraid to make mistakes. Is the main one. Yeah.
Okay, lots of Persian people are watching it now. They keep asking me like if you've got more sculptures to show. Sorry, I have to say it in Farsi. Probably they don't understand that part. دوستانی که خیلی دارین میپرسین که اگر کارهای دیگر رو داره که بخواد نشون بده، نه متاسفانه همینو داره، بقیه رو فروخته. So I've said that now. Unfortunately, there's nothing else left. So this is the only one actually he's got, which you've shown earlier. So the rest were sold, and I can't pick another question. There are a lot. I'm so sorry. I have to wrap up this conversation and will be able to upload it actually on my IGTV on Instagram. You're an example of a good and thoughtful person, the one who creates the greatest things with the least facilities and attracts people to this work, to your work, and with your art. I really congratulate you, Jordan, and I'm so proud of you. And when I started this show, I started to find out about creative people in Australia, and I love to talk to them. I learned a lot, and I'm really proud of what you're doing, and well done. At your age, how old are you? You're
27.
And you started and you started doing that when you were at age of 20. Am I right?
Yeah, about that.
Well done, well done. So I have no more question, and I have to finish this conversation. Is there anything else you want to say that I didn't ask you, probably?
Not really. I mean, there's probably a lot of questions that they're probably wanting to ask, but yeah, thanks for having me on, and hopefully, yeah, I gave you a little insight into what I do out here without kind of going into the workshop, but yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Did you like the conversation?
Yeah, no, it was good. It was my first kind of podcast set up on Instagram, so yeah, hopefully we can do a few more.
Of course, and hopefully see you in reality. The 90% of people who I've spoken with in my show, I haven't seen them in reality yet. So hopefully after this Corona things end. Jordan, thank you very much. I really appreciate it for your time, and thank you very much. And do you want to say goodbye to those for watching us now?
Yeah. Thanks everyone for tuning in. Yeah, hope you liked it. And if you haven't, follow Borna and get around his work.
Okay. So, and then as soon as I'm gonna upload it tonight, and then you can let your followers who didn't get a chance to watch it on your story. Okay?
Beautiful.
You take care. Be well. Talk to you soon.
Catch up.
Bye. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. I was talking to Jordan Sprigg, so he's an amazing artist. If you want to find out more about Jordan, you can go to his Instagram page, and also there is a website. You can check out his amazing sculptures. Thank you. Be well. Look after yourself and your family, and keep your smile. Take care.